Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Eddie Marcus here. I want to share something with you. I grew up in the South long time ago, in the 50s and 60s. Plantations, sharecropping, you know, slavedom. But during that period of time, I was raised by some very old people who were kind of progressive. You know, my great grandfather that raised me was a Mason. His wife, my great grandmother, was a Eastern Star. So they were kind of connected outside of just picking cotton. And I grew up believing in God because I went to church all the time. And I say believing because all I got was a story. I got some preaching. I got some talking, constant, 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 constant. So I kind of believed it. My hangups, if I had any, had to do with having left the congregation on Sundays or those days we had the meetings and went out into the regular world. And you saw things that happened so different. Now, it didn't mean that people were going out lying constantly to people and doing all kind of ugly stuff. But there were basic things that were happening that affected the lives of individuals and groups of people that should not have been going on. And it seemed as if the understanding of God was not strong enough to deal with that, except in the 60s when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. came along. He was talking about some stuff bigger than just talk. He was actually uh, touching uh, the people where it really mattered, and they began to be interested and come together and do certain things. I guess that was sort of what you might want to call magic because it doesn't happen all the time. So we got a chance to see what the scriptures and what practicing the scripture kind of meant. Up until then, it was basically just talk. Here again, it might have stopped some people from violating some of the Ten Commandments, but they were violated. So I kind of grew up probably like most people, believing but not knowing. However, at some point in my life, I got a chance to experience the miracle. The miracle is that which humankind cannot do. Maybe an alien, I don't know, but I tell you, the provider of it, I couldn't see. So I know that was invisible. But the evidence of it, oh boy, was it evident. And so since I know it had nothing to do with mankind, had nothing to do with humans, I gave it the power of God. And when I say the power of God, I gave it an ability to do for me what humankind couldn't do. So I easily understand that there are things that humankind can do if they would do. And so the understanding that I'm getting from the power that's doing something that man can't do is that I have now the authority to talk to people about what they can do and don't do and encourage them to do. And so, you know, having that kind of mindset and thinking from my experience and learning from Dr. King and even what they said about the story of Jesus, and even just my understanding about what had happened to me in that miracle, it gave me evidence that there was nothing more important than your life. Your life is is the most important thing that you have, but it can be valuable or it can be not valuable. Seriously, if your life is about life for more than you, but life of the human race. If your life is about that, then your life is full of value. I mean, absolute value. And if something would interfere with that value that you have, you are willing to give up your life for the salvation of that life. That's when your life is priceless. But there are those who would do anything to your life to maintain their life. And what would really make the difference is understanding about life. If you don't understand life, you can bet your last money you want it, yours, and you'll do anything, take anyone else's just to maintain your own. So it kind of brought me to the point of understanding that basically what was meant fantastic for me was generally the same things that's fantastic to any human being. And so what I saw for humanity, as far my perspective, based upon my education from a power that I couldn't see but saw the evidence, is that peace and prosperity and freedom and joy of life and the fulfillment of your dreams was kind of common amongst every human being on earth. That each of them would want their needs. They would want even their wants and the things that they desire. They would want those things to be relevant and real in their lives. To me, that meant that certain things that are essential for survival, like food, clothing, and shelter, and education and health care, would never be deficient. It would always be in abundance. And the things that I'm seeing that for myself and likewise for every human being on the face of the earth. And when you talk about how to supply all of these resources and goods to the people, especially under an education that we've lived under, capitalism, whatever, how can that be possible? And it's simple, based upon this new understanding of life, is that everybody that benefits from it engage themselves in the process of it. That means each of us are given a career. Each of us are given a career. And that career is wherein lies our greatest joy. That means having the opportunity to engage it, our careers, in the process. And what are we doing? We are creating all of that which we have created by the hands of man to meet the needs of that which human beings have determined was essential for them. All of that. The resources are free from that power we can't see. The gifts that's necessary to use those resources to do all the things that we have done are gifts that are from us, from that same power that we utilize for the same purpose of establishing this wonderful heaven. Now, to me, there's no greater point in life that you can achieve than creating heaven on earth. Now, that means there's no such thing as just creating because it's constant. It's constantly growing. But this is where I'm talking about going to that point where you can know you're in heaven and yet you can see yourselves constantly growing. It blew my mind to know that people could experience heaven on earth. And knowing that if they were given a choice, and they were, that they would choose crime and violence. They would choose hatred and division and racism and bigotry and poverty. They would actually choose it. And having chosen it, they accept it. They refuse to change. And when you're lifting up, advocating for either of the two, the one that brings what you would think the joy is not even advocated. I mean, nobody's interested. Or there's a power so strong that it doesn't want it to be heard and they silence it. And the thing that everybody had, at least that I was taught as a child, as a young man, and as an adult growing up, that it was absolutely despicable. The things that happen in the world today. I'm not going to label them because you know what they are. It's absolutely despicable. Who would want that? No decent person. But we all say we're decent. And this is what we have chosen. Can you imagine what that does to a guy like me? A guy like me who knows that all of this in this world that's happening, in reality, it is the same kind of stuff that Putin is offering Ukraine. It's the same kind of stuff that Trump and his folks want to offer the United States of America. I just mentioned to you about giving your life for a cause and the power that America seems not to be able to get enough of is advocating coming in, taking other people's lives for not lifting up his life. I don't think any of this is funny. So I don't know where that little snigger came from. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time.